Vigilantes. Welcome to this episode of the Crypto Vigilante, and we're here with Brutus the Brick. And Brutus the Brick is actually a subscriber of the Crypto Vigilante and the Dollar Vigilante, and we constantly motivate everyone in our community to get creative, to be entrepreneurial. And Brutus the Brick with us, he went into like the hardware, if we want to call it, aspect of open source knowledge. And so we've been talking about the importance of keeping your private keys safe. And a lot of people save their private keys on paper, or they laminate paper, but as you know, paper is not fire resistant, not water resistant. Even if it's laminated, it's not fire resistant. So these mnemonic seed phrases, these words, right, that are your private keys, are susceptible to the elements, to corrosion. And in the market, there have been a lot of companies out there that have developed metallic seed backups, which are actual metallic plates. Some of them allow you to engrave the words in metal directly. Others give you movable pieces, and there's just a myriad of different options in the market. In the description below, I will make sure that you guys have all of the stress tests done by Jameson Lopp. Jameson Lopp spoke at the TCV Summit, and he is a cypherpunk hero to all of us in that he's taken upon himself to stress test every single metallic seed backup in the market. So Brutus the Brick was inspired by the work of Jameson Lopp, and he said, you know what, how about we become more creative and we start experimenting with do-it-yourself projects. And we're here with Brutus to talk about this. Brutus the Brick, thank you for being with us. And tell us about your project. We're really excited to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me. So yeah, like you said, I was inspired, but I looked at all the options, and my background is mechanical engineering. And seeing that they charge like $20-$30 for a piece of copper plate, that seemed kind of interesting to me. So I thought, okay, how could people do this themselves? And how can they be creative, make it different? And like I wrote in the tutorial, which we will have in the description, it should be fire resistant, corrosion resistant, portable probably, because shit happens, and also discrete. And the discrete part is actually quite tricky, because we're talking about metallic, for example. Imagine if metallic is your only copy, you have everything on it, and then you have to walk through airport with it. Are you gonna put it in the check-in baggage? They can look through your stuff and take pictures of your seed? Or are you gonna hang it on your neck, you walk through the gate, beep, beep, hey sir, what's that? Well, you need something even different. So yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that you're so creative. And before we started this conversation, you said something very key. You said, yeah, well, I asked you, well, eventually, do you want to take these ideas of yours to market as a capitalist, or would you rather share your knowledge open source? And you said, well, I'd rather be creative, because it is actually dumb for everyone to have the same style and the same looking metallic seed backups that is easily identifiable by anyone else that would be aware of these existing in the market. So what you said there really, really made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You should may have something very unique that is very personalized, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what your let's call it your first to market, right? Your first idea. What is it that we have put together? And like you said, we will be putting your tutorial in the description below. Tell us about what you came up with And what alloys, what metals are you using, and why did you choose these over others?
So I took a look at the Jameson Labs test, and I thought, how can we create something that is as resistant as the best options, but way, way cheaper, and something that people can make at home their own. So I found this piece of tube. It is a brass tube and two caps with a little rubber gasket in them. So this is stuff that you buy in where you would buy piping from material store. And then something like I used steel. It was from old hardware. I thought it was stainless steel. Then I tested it more thoroughly. It turned out it wasn't really stainless. So that was an issue. But this is some kind of steel, but this is better. It's a copper plate.
How did you go about testing whether it was stainless or not?
So at first I replicated the Jameson's test, and I tried burning it, heating it until it's glowing red. So it must be at least 1,000 degrees. And then I put it in sulfuric acid, the kind that you would dilute slightly and put it in a car battery. But it turned out that it does corrode, but the acid also eats away the corrosion, so you don't see that it has corroded. So
wow.
after 2 days, you take out a shiny piece of metal and you think, oh, it's fine. But if you left it for a year, maybe it would be gone totally. So then I figured, okay, so what is like the most realistic risk? What will people really expose their keys to? So the first idea was salt water. For example, if you carry your keys on yourself, maybe there's salt water in the air, in beach areas or somewhere, or maybe you drop it in the ground in winter and there's salt on the road. That's a possibility. So what I did, there will be continuation to this. I will test all kinds of materials, but what I did was I rolled out pennies, US copper penny, 70s, and US zinc penny. And I'm not sure if you can see the difference, but the copper is, oh, this is zinc. It is black, and the copper is shiny.
I'm sorry, the copper was black or the zinc was black under salt water? So zinc was affected by the salt water. It was corroded.
Yeah.
Okay, but not the copper. Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing, if you think about your metals, you Google metal activity row. And what it shows you is the order of metals beginning with most reactive to the least reactive. And what you'll see there, that aluminium is not very good, zinc is not very good, iron also not. And from the top there is gold number 1, silver number 2, and then copper is the first of the affordable versions, so to speak.
Okay, so let's talk about the portability. How do you grab every word, and how do the words come together? How do you keep them together? Are they within a single plate, or are they? I saw that they were hanging kind of like a keychain. Are they separate? Okay, tell us about that, and why did you choose that design?
So there is this option with a rivet. So that's like you cannot separate them, but you cannot also like hang them on a keychain or anything. And then I thought, if we want to make it portable, put it on a keyring.
So I've personally always been very apprehensive of any metallic seed backups that are not one solid piece. You understand what I mean? I've always found it to be like, gosh, if one of these breaks off, like I could be
Mhm.
screwed, you know? Like, so why did you choose that? Why didn't you choose like a solid piece for this first, um, this first, go to at creating your own?
Well, I thought it should fit in pocket easily, and that way, look, it can fit in this. Like, you take it, and it fits in. All 24 words, and there is two sides, so you can have two seeds.
Dude, that is really awesome. I really like that. I wasn't
And
expecting that. You got me there. That was good. That was really good. So you created out of the tube, you actually created a little, like, you kind of encrypted it within metal. That's awesome. You created a little housing for it. That was really cool. I really like that.
and if you're worried about them getting separated, well, I found this steel rivet. It's 4 millimeters thick, and it's more likely that something else will happen to your seed than to that rivet.
I want to challenge anyone watching this that if they come up with like their own design, just hit me up on Twitter, Vamos Vigilante, and I would love to have you on the show as well because, believe it or not, what Brutus the Brick has done here and what he's doing is, in my opinion, the most important aspect in protecting your private keys, guys. Because even if you have a hardware wallet like Trezor or Ledger Nano, those still require that you have a backup of the private keys to that Trezor, to that Ledger. So you're always going to be trying to figure out how to best store your private keys. And so doing it yourself, I think, is honestly the best way to go because you become unpredictable and no one knows really what they're looking at. I mean, if anyone sees what he showed us here, which is just a brass tube, I mean, that's not something that will right away tell you, well, there may be a Bitcoin wallet in there, a Monero wallet in there. So I'm sorry. So you were just showing us something. Can you please show the screen again and tell us what it is that you're showing us here?
This is another idea I had. It's a small piece of pencil. It has 6 sides. So if you have 12 word seed, perfect.
Now this pencil is wood though, right? What
It is wood, but if you're walking through an airport, well, it's a pencil.
Something that always kind of concerned me has been the storing of your private keys, of storing all of the words of your mnemonic phrase in one single spot. And so, something that I've always thought about, it has been, well, it's smarter if let's say your mnemonic phrase is 12 words long, right? Well, to separate it and store into 3 sections, into 3 sets of 4 words in different places, and obviously to make that redundant. Have you thought about that? Is that something that has crossed your mind?
Yeah, well, first, if it's only 12 words and it's like your main key that you're mostly using, it's not that difficult to learn it. And about separation, there's the question, how likely are you to stay at that place? How likely are you be able to get to that place where a part of your seed is stored?
Right on. So, yeah, please remember to always have redundancy in everything that you do. So don't just do something like this and just make one copy. Be smart, make more than one, obviously. Now that you've done this, Brutus, now that you've actually gone through the actual steps of actually taking your ideas and giving them material form, can you see yourself going back to the options found in the open market?
I don't see any need to really. You can get material, you can get some tools, you can make it. And be creative.
Awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, I daydream sometimes of all of the many ideas that are possible in storing your private keys, right? In keeping your private keys safe. And I've come up with some wild ideas that I honestly don't want to share. But I mean, I think that this is an awesome conversation to have, because I like that this conversation will inspire those watching it to think beyond what's conventional. You know, we are, a lot of times in life we are told what to think. Actually, that's all we're indoctrinated with in school. It's they teach us what to think and to think within these lines. And so when you become creative, that really changes the game, and it makes you way more unpredictable and way more secure. So, Brutus, I really want to thank you for being with us. Is there anything else you want to share with us from your experience? Anything that you would tell to anyone out there watching this that's like, you know what? I'm trying to figure out how to get started. How would you approach the situation in guiding someone that is maybe does not have a material science degree or an engineering degree like yourself, or a mechanical engineering degree like yourself? What would be the first step that you would recommend for them to take in their local area to start figuring this out?
I would say try experimenting. Get some material, engrave something in it, and try to expose it to all kinds of risks that you can imagine. I can't imagine everything. Like, the engineering degree doesn't give you that much creativity in this sense. You know what risks do you have around you, and try those.
After this experience, have you thought about other ideas that maybe you want to share with us? Anything else insightful that you've maybe are thinking about or have discovered after creating this tutorial for people?
For me personally, the next part would be testing different kinds of plastics. Because like I said, in some occasions it cannot be metallic, it has to be, well, discrete. So that's the next part.
Wow, I'd never personally thought about plastics themselves. I always thought of plastic as a material that is susceptible to fire damage. But you're correct. There are situations where you are better off using plastics. Have you made any discoveries in that area since you started thinking about this?
Not yet. Plastics is a whole world. There is all kind of compositions, all kind of chemicals. They are more resistant, less resistant, with higher melting temperatures, and lower and softer and harder plastics. That's a huge field to research.
That's awesome. So I guess we're gonna have to have you back once you have that all figured out and you have a clear understanding, right?
Yeah, great.
Awesome, Brutus. Well, thank you for being with us. And guys, thank you for stopping by, watching this video. And remember that you're the most important person in crypto. Peace, love, anarchy. Brutus, thank you for being with us. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.
Thanks for having me.